Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Sean at Shock Surplus. Today we are going to go over all of the Rancho options that they have available for your truck and your Jeep. They've got basically four major shock absorber options. We got the Rancho Quick Lift over here that comes fully assembled with a brand new coil spring, fully contained with a new top hat on an RS 9000 strut. That's very similar to the Rancho RS 9000. That's very famous because of its adjustability. This shock has been around for a long time. It's got a lot of traction in the heavy duty community. Does really well. Their RS 7000 is a little bit of a newer edition. This is has taken design cues from the Bilstein 5100. Very similar in internals, zinc plating as well. We'll go over that detail. And then this is their tried and true legacy shock, the RS 5000. This is the 5000X version. They used to have a 5000 version that was hydro dampened only. These X versions are now gas charged, so they have 150 PSI gas charge, which you can tell by the expansion of the rod. Before, hydro only versions would not self-expand because there was no gas charge. Just a little pro tip. So this RS 5000 is a twin tube body. That means there's a base valve. There's a main piston. That main piston, as it moves through the travel, is forcing hydraulic fluid through the base valve into the overflow sleeve, and that's where the nitrogen gas charge kind of comes into play, creates more pressure on that shock, and contributes to the dampening of the vehicle. The RS 7000 has what's called an internal floating piston. So there's no overflow tube or sleeve for the oil in this shock. There is a main piston attached to this piston rod. As this piston rod and shaft goes through the main body, there is a floating piston separate from the main piston down here, and below that is the nitrogen gas chamber. So that gas chamber is, we'll say, 150 PSI. As this main piston is forcing oil through down onto the other piston, it's creating more pressure within the gas chamber, which is enacting on the shock oil. The purpose of all that nitrogen gas charge is to prevent cavitation of the shock oil. What happens when the shock oil starts heating up a lot is it turns bubbly, which means cavitating. And when it turns bubbly, then that piston is just flying through the oil and not having any dampening for your vehicle. So nitrogen gas is there to keep that relationship between the piston and the oil consistent. This RS 9000 is more similar to the 5000 than the 7000. This is a twin tube gas charged shock as well. Very beefy. These shocks come in basically 2 1/4 inches, between 2 inches and 2 1/4 inches, depending on the application. Some applications you can't actually just have that thick of a shock. Regardless, operates in the same way. There's a base valve down here that the main piston forces the shock oil through. And that's why this adjustment knob is down here, because it's essentially mechanically it's changing a spring kind of needle that goes into this base valve that controls how much fluid is going through that base valve. So by making it really soft, you're essentially allowing more fluid at the beginning ranges of compression to go through. Making it firm, you're limiting that relationship, making it a firmer response on your vehicle. So just to clarify, turning it soft Speed bumps, it's going to be very much more loose, but you're going to get a more plush, kind of plush highway ride, daily driver ride. If you make it firm, then those bumps, you're going to feel a lot more road feedback, a lot more bump feedback, but that's, you actually kind of want that when you're loading up the rear of your truck with a bunch of gear, or you're towing, or you have winches and heavy duty bumpers on the front. You don't want your truck with a lot of sway or a lot of body roll. So to remove that kind of behavior on your vehicle, you would make the settings firmer, because that really helps out with response of the vehicle, handling of the vehicle. It maintains the most important thing, which is control, traction. Those are the kind of things that enthusiasts are more concerned about off-road, or really using their vehicle to the fullest extent. The Rancho Quick Lift is nearly identical to the RS 9000. So same shock body, same behavior, same adjustment principles down here on the knob. These are for your light trucks like Toyota Tundras, 4Runners, Tacomas, F-150s, Dodge Ram 1500s, Chevy Silverado, GMC Sierra, Chevy Tahoe, Chevy Suburban, Chevy Avalanche, GMC Yukon. I think I got, nope, Nissan Titan, Nissan Xterra, Nissan Frontier, Nissan Pathfinder, Nissan Armada. I think that's all the applications I got. So these come equipped with a lifted coil spring. So you can get these struts without the coil spring by themselves, or you can get this fully assembled unit, but you are gonna see a lift out of the front of your vehicle right out of the box. The height is not adjustable. Only the shock compression is adjustable. A lot of people get confused because of the titling and all that kind of stuff, but we're here to tell you, you cannot change the height of these shocks. Usually they're set about, usually they're going to give about 2 inches of lift for most applications, but double check, because on F-150s, some F-150s see 2 inches of lift, newer models see 2.5 inches of lift. New model Ram 1500 see 2 3/4 inches of lift. So it's all over the place. Very application specific, and what you can kind of get away with in terms of how much you can lift your vehicle with stock alignment specs, no new control arms. Rancho kind of did their homework there, so kudos to them. So as you can see, there's a lot of different options. Usually not every option is available for every platform. So if you're wondering why there's no RS 7000s available for your Bronco, older model. If you're wondering why the quick lift is not available for your Ram 2500, it's because your Ram 2500 doesn't have struts. There's all types of things. If you guys have any questions regarding your specific application, you need some help choosing which shock is going to be best for your ride, hit us up in the comments, send us an email, live chat. We're all over the place. We appreciate your attention, and thanks so much for watching.